guys know, Renew Arms, you had to fight and work very hard to get to where you are. Once you get there, and I'm not saying that we are where we want to be. I mean, I'm comfortable with where we are. We're small. We want to remain small. I don't want to have a big building with a big sign. It doesn't matter. I don't have a big ego. I don't care about things like that. I want to be able to continue to make things for people that we care about, things that we're happy with, things we want. All of these external goals like revenue, size, whatever, okay, they're worthy goals, but just not for us. But you guys know how it is. To get to where you are, you have to work very hard to get there. And once you are at that point, you have to work even harder to keep yourself there. It's very easy, and we've seen this before. The industry provides plenty of examples when people get complacent and they say, you know what, I can go on vacation for 6 months out of the year now. I can do things a little, because we're so big, we can get away with it. No, we don't get away with anything because I don't let anybody here get away with anything, and we don't let shops get away with anything. So if anything, we got to do more QC than we had before, because the volume goes up, and for a lot of, it seems to be a trend. When companies get bigger, the quality control, customer service seems to go in the opposite direction.
Hey everybody, Sean with Renew Arms, and today we have a very special guest. Actually, we're guests for him. And we have Roger from Forward Controls Designs, and we're going to do another roundtable. We're going to talk a little bit and just figure out a little bit more about Roger, but more specifically about the company itself, what it means, and why it's so popular and why people love it. So first off, Roger, go ahead and tell us about you a little bit, just who you are, what you do.
Okay, I'm one of the owners at FCD. FCD started in late 2014. That was there's a little bit of interesting history about that. I was at Battle Realms from 2009 to 2014. We went to Renier's first. Before it was called TriggerCon, I guess called pre-TriggerCon days. It was where you guys had moved into a new building, and you guys had like a vendor day, and we were there. And then Battle Realms, FCD was started right after that. It was in late 2014. It was a part-time job for us until 2020 when COVID hit, and then it became a full-time job. And so we've been doing this for this will be the 10th year. So that's the company history. Was one of the partners at Battle Realms, and here my wife Kunji, she went to LA, but for a day. But we run a place. We're small. We run our FCD from our home office, as you see it.
Yeah.
We don't have a shop. Don't want a shop, so we can keep overhead low, so we can continue fulfilling our mission. And that mission is not to be any size or any revenue goal. I don't really have those, other than we continue doing what we have been doing. That is making components, parts, and providing service to people that matter to us, like you guys and our customers, law enforcement, and the military, folks that wear the uniform on.
So what kind of drove you to create FCD? What made you want to take that shift, or what was the mission or the direction that you wanted to go?
Well, so at Battle Realms, and so when we first started, it was, hey, we want to make this, but nobody else doesn't, or maybe we didn't think people did as good of a job as we could have done. So we started that, and at FCD, you pretty much continue that. That never changed. So in 2014, we had 4 products. Our product list has 4 lines. Now it's 5 pages of it. It's not because, well, hey, this is cool, let's do that. No, there's in everything that you see that we offer, there's usually a need for it. Some people don't have the need. Some people say, oh, this is great, and how come nobody thought of it? This is the reason why we do what we do. It's not for polish. It's not for looks, even though our products do look good, but that is usually the side effects. So our mission is to provide goods and services, goods mostly to to folks that have needs. Not everybody has those needs. For instance, something like the LDFA, one of our first products in 2014 to 2015, it's rimless forward assist. And of course, at that time, people say there's a solution to several problems. We hear that even to this day. Okay? It's specifically made for ambient charging handle, which in 2014 really wasn't that big of a thing yet. So that if you use your right hand to use the ambient charging handle side, your fingernail doesn't get ripped off because the rim there.
Yeah. So
if you don't use that, yes, it's a solution that doesn't have an application for you. But for people that do have a need for it, that have had the fingernail ripped off, they say this is great. So this is the kind of thing that we're very good at, and also ergonomics. Sometimes we'll put a curve somewhere, or we'll put serrations where nobody thought they to put it there, and we'll put dimples and in places instead of serrations. The dimple is not always the solution, but it is for some. I know that's going to come out later on. Which one we will like? I can tell
there's going to be a huge. Yeah, there's already a big war between serrations and dimples.
Right. So that's kind of fun thing. But a lot of people just like it because the aesthetics. I can assure you, very, very few things we do are based on looks. There was only one thing that we've done, and it's so that it doesn't look like a human part, but that's pretty much the only time where we say, hey, we can't have it look like this. But otherwise, I'm a firm believer of form over function, and the looks should be driven by the task the part's designed to do. So if there's a curve there, there's a reason. If there's a soft bevel over there, there's also a reason. If there is a U shape and then there is a straight line, everything has a reason, because without a purpose, it's just fashion, right? A shirt, say in this color versus a shirt in black, there's no functional difference usually, right? Indoor, outdoor, okay, then now there's a function. So I went off on a tangent, but this is the reason why we do what we do is we're shooters. So it's not like, let's do this because why? Because it looks badass. No, I don't want to do anything to look badass. In fact, we want a lot of our products to look understated because it's distracting. Okay, it doesn't complement. It's just distracting. The part look the way they do because of the function they do provide. If we do a good job with fit and finish, that's just a side effect. But the side effects of the unintended consequence is that I know we have folks, customers that buy them for the way they look instead of the way they work. We don't get to choose our customers. And our messaging has always been the same from day one. That is function over form, and form follows function. But a lot of people do buy them for the way they look, and then if they work if they work well for them, so much the better. Of course, our way is just the opposite. It should work well for you. If it looks good in the process, then that's a nice fringe benefit. But that should not be the reason anybody buys gun parts.
Yeah, and that tends to be pretty common though. I mean, your products look good. They always have. They have really good form and function. They really do. And I think one of the biggest ones that I've noticed, that little conflict between people buying it because of the way it looks, and that's again like the serration and dimples, those gangs going against each other. But recently we did a video on the serrated BCG that's made. It's serrated for a reason, and that's to be in an upper that doesn't have a forward assist, and it gives you the ability to be able to drive that forward if you need to. And then when we did that video, people are like, oh no, dimples are better, we want dimples. And it's like, I get that, but there's a purpose for these serrations. They're there for a reason, and if that reason doesn't apply to you, then sure, go for the looks if that's what you're going for, but understand what this is created for. There's a reason why he doesn't just put dimples on everything. Right.
For instance, this is a rabbit hole. We can talk about this for the entirety of the show. Dimples. So it was. It's on Weapon Revolutions, I guess. I don't. It's been a while since we posted there. Weaponrevolution.com.
Okay.
The dimple idea actually came from somebody over there. They say, hey, why don't you do like cross hatch, right? Now, the benefits of cross hatching is that it works the same regardless of where your finger approaches it from.
Yep.
Now, serrations have a very specific direction, right? So if you have a horizontal serration, they're there to mitigate vertical movements,
Yep.
but it's not very good for horizontal movements, right? So the all angles, that's what I call it. Nowadays, people just call it dimpled. Is pretty much a crosshatch, but just in different form. The crosshatch is fine, but I want something a little grippier than crosshatch, and in the process, it look the way they look. They look the way they look, and they're actually pretty hard to get right because the dimple has to be just right size. The spacing has to be right. The wall has to be vertical, not like a golf ball, because if it's like a golf ball, then it doesn't really offer much traction. So but if it works for you, and then it doesn't really matter whether it's serrated or dimple. And for the ASF lever, our safety lever, for instance, people want dimple. I know we're never going to do that because there's a reason for this too. The serrations are along the length of the lever, so that because when your fingers goes on it and flip it, it actually slides on it. So why would you want to put speed bumps on that movement? You want it to be smooth and continuous and uninterrupted. So the only concession we made to that, I knew what people would ask for, was instead of a pointer or an arrow that points at fire or safe, we'll have a dimple in this place. So there you go, that's the only dimple you're gonna get. Because dimple doesn't make sense everywhere. It makes sense on some, but on the safety lever, it doesn't. But then if it works for you, then it doesn't matter. Whether it's dimple or serrated. And for SPCGs, both dimples and serrations have a function that provides a texture, as opposed to a smooth surface that is on the TDP bow catch or carrier. So then it doesn't really matter. And I think serrations may work better there because you can only push it towards the muzzle. It's not like it's going up and down. There's no room for it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a great example of how you're sticking to form over function. Is even though people are requesting that you put dimples on everything, when it doesn't make sense, you're not going to do it. So you're staying true to your guns. You're staying true to what you believe, which is, I think, huge. A lot of people will just, okay, that's what you want, we'll do that. But then you start losing who you are, what you're doing. You start losing that credibility also.
Well, yeah, I mean, we over the years, we have turned down. I said, no, we can't do it because that's what I see. And some people say, why don't you just give the customers what they want? Some customers ask for things that I would never do. We can't do that. And I did learn this lesson when I was doing the firearm safety at the time, and I was responsible for this, and I will own it. Was that back then the safety came with 3 levers. And then people kept asking, hey, you can do this lever. Okay, sure. Can't do that lever. So in the end, it became 8 different options. Now, nobody knows which one works for them. So sometimes too many options is just too many. It doesn't help.
Yep.
So for ASF levers, we have standard and short. That's it. And nowadays, we also have the winter lever. That's was done for a very specific purpose. That's if you wear gloves, then the extra width will help you with that. But it's not a standard thing yet. Some black people don't even know about it.
Yeah, winter doesn't apply to everybody.
Well, but it does feel better too, even if you don't wear gloves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So when it comes to the Forward Controls Design product line, how do you think that they best reflect your mission? I think we've talked a little bit about it, but in your words, how do you think that your products best reflect the Forward Controls Design mission? Well,
we can't be all things to all people. So there are some things we just don't do. For instance, what the line, the product line it's been a surprise for us. It's been a special. In the beginning of Forward Controls, I used to think, at some point a killer app will come. This would put us on the map. And that never really materialized, or at least not the way we thought. We thought that the NB Mag catch was going to be it. That didn't happen. The mouse device was going to be it. That didn't happen. And then bow catch was going to be it. That didn't happen. What did happen was something that was, we do this better. And that became very, very popular. It was a total surprise to us. And those things were mouse devices. We now make a lot of suppression mounts for Plan B, as well as for dead air, chemo, and Xeno. But I think a lot of people do know us for the pistol optics plates. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that one I think can probably best answer your question is that we go back to what I said earlier, that we can't do everything. I'd rather do a few things very well, and rather than doing okay job with everything under the sun. So we don't make a plate for every object that exists. For instance, it's not because we don't like them. It's just our mission is defense users and law enforcement and the military. And so some of these footprints are just really old, and so they don't use them, so we don't make them. Not because we don't like them, like Seymour and Doctor or footprints. So we support RMR footprints, Acro, and DPP, and soon we're going to be supporting RMSC. And for the guns, we support SIG, HK, Smith & Wesson, and Glock. Of course, that's the most popular. So if you take a look, back in 2020, we had 1 plate. Now we have about maybe 3 dozen plates. Maybe, but it's our mission has always been that let's support people that matters to us first.
Yep.
That is defense users. I don't prioritize any one market over another. In other words, we don't prioritize the military and law enforcement over civilians. You guys are all equally important to us. So law enforcement, if they ask us enough, we will make a play for them. This has happened before. We're doing one now, actually, that we're not going to sell to anybody else. We can't for different reasons, not because just law enforcement only. We won't do that. It's just that they ask for it, we're going to do it for them, but it doesn't really fit our requirements, so we're not going to do it for us.
Sure. Okay.
But so I'm not sure that answers the question. But
it does.
We don't make everything under the sun. Now for the AR, it seems like we have, right? What do we now make other than lower? We don't make lowers. I don't want to be an FFL. We're not an FFL. I don't want to be an FFL. Too much liabilities, and also.
You have teamed up with some companies, though.
We have, with Sons and also with Adam at Evolve Weapons. We have a weapon system, but Sons has been a very good partner for us, and we collaborate on a lot of things. It seems like for the AR we make nearly every single thing.
You do make a lot, but they all work and they have a purpose, and that's something that I appreciate about Forward Control's design is, again, you're not doing anything for fashion. Everything has its purpose, and it makes sense when you really dig down and think about it. Well,
it wasn't a goal to let's make everything for the AR. It's just like, I want to do this because I like it this way better. It's some things, for instance, the PMA, like the parallel mount, it is so different, but so similar, it's just completely under the radar.
Yeah.
But hopefully the XM7 and XM250 will pick it up, and it's on their radar. It's a real funny thing. Fun to us. Of all the things we make, the XM7, XX, and the XM250 has 2 of our products on the list, and we got NSS for it. And there's just not even hardware. It's something that we just made. This, out of spare parts I have in my drawer. This is Sling Keep A, Sling Keep B. I think you know what this is. It helps you tuck your sling in when you don't use it. But the PMA will be for the first actual on-the-gun product that's aluminum. Hopefully they like it and they adopt it. But even if they don't, I
actually really like that mount though. It was kind of received a little weird. Some people just didn't quite understand it.
Right, because it's just too out there. Yeah. So no, I'm not going to compare myself to Apple, even though they are one of our aspirations. Okay? There's a lot of things that they do, we also do. Not because it's Apple did, we want to do the same thing. It's just we seem to do the same thing without realizing it. The PMA is not first. It's not the first offset mount. It won't be the last, but it is different enough that people just don't get it. Now think of the original Newton that Apple came up with. It may be before your time. Newton was the first PDA. It was about this big.
Yeah. It
never went anywhere because it was too bulky. It was too ahead of its time. Now I'm not saying PMA is too of its time, but it is different enough that people let's just go with what we are familiar with, rather than something that may be better, but it is different. But in this case, if you are an ACOG user, it'll work for you very well, and to me that's enough. That's what I want. So not everything we do automatically becomes best-selling. In fact, a lot of them are just under the radar. People don't really notice them. That's okay. We still made them for people that need them. It's not everything is revenue-driven. Another thing would be the Glock magazine floor plates, because I don't really like magwell. So the floor plate basically takes the place of the magwell, and that gives you better weapon retention. It helps you get manual strip the magazine out better and easier. But it is just such a different concept, because most people just choose a magwell for that solution, as opposed to a floor plate that does the same thing, but it's less bulky.
Yeah.
But we're still going to make them just because it fits. It works for some people, and that's what matters to me. And if it works for you, then
So, how do you go about your because all of your parts you're creating them yourself, right? You might have a small team or somebody that you're working with, but they're essentially your ideas. How do you go about that design process? How does that work?
So none of them are ours. So for instance, when we collaborate, if another company already makes a product that we like, then which I will approach them and say, would you make a version of it for us? Because instead of us making a version that competes with you, even though we're very small and we're not a threat to anybody. So there's some products like that, but not everything is original. The PMA is one of them. Mainly, it's usually because it's necessity is the mother of invention, right? So because we're shooters, and if I find something like, why is it like this? Why can't we do something different so it suits me better? We shouldn't have to conform to the machine, to the product. It should be the other way around, within reason. So that's what we do. It's a lot of times it's just very minor improvement, but it's improvement nevertheless.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God, it helps. That's there rather than not being there. So I find a lot of the inspirations from everyday objects, right? Like if you go into your car, there's a lot of them out there. See, not to go off on a tangent again, but if you go into your car, things are where they're located for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to have your headlight control all the way over there where you have to reach over to activate or turn off. It's there for a reason. It's close to you, right? And the buttons are shaped in a specific shape for a reason. They're not all the same, as opposed to something that's look all the same that confuses, but you can't get them quickly. So it's so everyday life objects. For even the light switch, for that matter, why do they look the way they do? Why are they, why do they have a rocker instead of just like buttons? Because it's like in an elevator, right? On and off. Because this is stupid. It doesn't work as well as just rocker button, right? You can find useful innovations, examples of useful ideas everywhere. If you look. And mostly it's just, hey, if you pick up a gun and say, well, this fits me, but something I wish you could do better. For instance, I can't reach the slide release. Well, that's something you could do better. Or the MB mag catch gets in the way. When I push it, it's I can feel it on the other side. It's just little things, but all put together, it's not little. The product. The design should conform to your needs, not you learning. I mean, if you're in the military or a law firm, you issue the weapon, okay, you don't have option there.
Yeah.
But to the extent possible, if you could customize it to the way you want it, then
Why not?
Why not? Right. Yeah. So some people say, I got used to shooting a M16 in the military without MB. I don't need it. Good for you. Not everybody's going to be like you, though. I found MB controls to be very useful for almost in a lot of situations. Even when I'm not using my left hand to actuate them, in odd places, I'm very happy to have it because I can use it. Whereas if I didn't have it, it'd be kind of awkward.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times in my training where it's laying prone on your side under a car, next to a car, or just in a weird spot, and you usually don't use those ambi controls, but right now they're a lifesaver, because otherwise you've got to manipulate the gun in weird ways that you can't, because there's not enough space in order to get to the bolt catch, bolt release, whatever it might be.
Right. So there's one thing I learned. This is just one example. Back in early 2000, we were taking a course with Scott Ritz of ETTS. No, it's just ITS. Well, he was a. I think he's still around. But that was early 2000. So by then there was only two-point sling. There was no adjustable, no 3-point. The 3-point was getting popular, but the way we sling our guns was that you muzzle down, you point it downward, and then you have this your sling just like that, right? So if you want to release your magazine release button, it's not always easy to do that. So having an NB one, I found that to be very useful. I can release this right here without having to reach around and use my left hand. It depends on how the rifle is slung. Yeah. So that's just one thing, yeah. So we keep hearing I don't need it. It's just ridiculous. It's just the dumbest idea ever. You have not seen it. You have not used it. How would you know? But let's just say you don't need it. So we don't need a wheelchair. So can we say that wheelchair is a solution to several problem? No, just not for us.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I don't need it, but can I criticize people that actually need it and find it useful? So we'll come across a lot of naysayers like that, but it used to be a lot. Now it still happens, but I just learned to ignore it.
I think the industry is getting a little bit better at it because there's other companies out there, and we've talked to them, and they've gone through the same process of coming up with something new, introducing it to the industry, and at first it just poo-pooed on like, that's the dumbest thing ever. Why would I do that? I already have a one time on my LPVO. Why do I need a red dot on the top? Yeah. And then now you look and like everybody's putting red dots on the top, or they're doing a 45-degree mount, or they're doing your parallel mount. So it's the idea of you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but you're seeing a problem with the wheel, and you're putting a new spoke in there, you're changing that little something in order to, one, provide more options for people, because not everyone's the same. We don't all like the same style of grips or the same feel of the safety or whatever it might be. And like you said earlier, why not make it the way that suits you when you can, or if you can.
Right. The latest one, we're constantly trying to find things we can improve on, and honestly, I thought the aero market was going to dry up. We're going to run out of things to develop. But the one that we recently did with Saul at Rooftop, it was that he's like, hey, why don't we make a fixed sling loop? Okay, now the fixed sling loop is not a concept. That's nothing new. People have done it for years. But basically, he just likes where he doesn't need a QD, and I'm like, what? I agree with you, because I have a QD in front. I never use it. What's the point of that? But so if you need it, there's some people that do need it. Remember, there was a question I posted in the group that's asked about that. Some people do actually need it. I had never found myself needing it, but because of that, I don't tell people, no, you don't need it. No, I'm not everybody. Just because I don't need it doesn't mean that you don't either. But the loop is basically get rid of the QD in front, because it's if you have QD, you bind the adapter and the QD swivel, and they stay out about as much. If you have a fixed sling loop, it stays out about 50% of that. And so if I don't need to release from the front, then I don't need a QD in front. I just need it in the back. It's with slings that have emergency quick release, you don't even need that either. Yeah. But it's just one of these things that that we haven't discovered, but the need has been there. Just like our ACF, the long version of our ambient charging handle that I showed you. For years I resisted making one, because I don't like charge handles with big handles, because it takes into your back, into your chest, and it's not on anything that it has a chance to. That was that was on me, because I don't really use LPVOs, and on my Mark 12s I haven't shot in 20 years. I nearly forgot about them until Kane in our group, he's like, hey, why don't you guys do this? And to be sure, he wasn't the first one to suggest it. Yeah. But he actually brought out the reason for it. I'm like, damn, this entire time I was stubborn, I didn't listen. But mostly, And that was completely on me. But just nobody really told me the reason why, other than that they wanted it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The moment he convinced me, this is the reason why I needed it. So Kane is competition shooter. He's very good at this. He brought this up, So if you were to tell me, hey, make something like this, and I would say, why would you want that? If you give me good reason, I'm like, wow, okay, it didn't occur to me, but it makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna do it, and so we did. That's another thing that it's for better or worse, our products are a result of our experiences. But I'm not law firms. I'm not military. I don't jump out of helicopters, jump out of APCs, or get in out of SWAT cars. So I don't have these experiences. I rely on our users, our customers, to say maybe do this because XYZ. For instance, the winter lever for the ASF for our MB safety. It says collaboration with science. So what he wanted was that he's like, hey, one of my deployments, my handguns were just ready. He sweats a lot. So the long lever, he wanted it to be harder for his finger to slip off. Now our short lever is wider already because we don't have a length, so we try to add a surface area by giving it more width. He said, why don't you make it so that it has like a little bit of a flare towards the end? I said, okay. By doing that, you will also make it very difficult. Yes, it's difficult for you now. Harder for your finger to come off, but when your finger does want to come off, you will also make it harder. So I said, well, I have a solution for that. Why don't we just make the lever wider so that you would get what you want, but now without a drawback? So the winter lever basically came from that. It was a revolution, an evolution of what was suggested to us, and we made use of it.
So you guys do a pretty good job then of listening to your customers. You're getting the feedback, and you're actually listening to, just like the big lever for your charging handle, the long one. That was somebody gave you a good reason, and you didn't just be like, oh no, I didn't come up with it, so I'm not going to do it. You were like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Well, okay, so charging handles with big latches has been around for a long time.
For sure,
right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was a victim of, not victim, but I don't like it because it has done everything I say it was going to do. Right? It takes on your chest, it snaps on things. So our ACF on purpose. It's not much wider than the handle. It's not much wider than the TDP for that reason. But because of that, it gives up on its usability with LPVO. So I will still maintain that the LPVO version of this is not for everybody because it will dig into your chest more.
Yes, it will.
in the back, and you will snag on things more. But it's as with everything, it's balanced. It's compromised. You never get it. You can't have a larger handle, so it's easy to use and not dig into your back. You can have one or the other. It's just, hey, you gotta choose the product, choose the part for what you value more, what's more important to you.
It comes down to for who and for what. So who is this being used for and what is it being used for? Because like I said, it's not going to be for everybody. Well, and that's a big part of it.
Right. For instance, on the toe mounts, in the past, maybe I know I'm old school. The way that we were trained to shoot was, you have just the toe of the butt pad on your shoulder, right? So it's not very good for recoil mitigation, but this is how you shoot. And so having toe mounts and that get rid of your cheek well. Now, man, you can get yelled at for that. So that's the same thing with the carry handle mounted optics. It's terrible cheek well, but now that became a thing. But if you don't have knots, or if you don't find it useful, and you do it anyway because everyone else does it, then it does really serve its purpose. In fact, I know it doesn't. Right? Now you just got rid of your good cheek well because everyone else does it. It needs to suit your needs.
Exactly.
And the same goes. So I don't find it to be useful yet. With knots, okay. But without knots, they're not there too tall for me. And I have a chin wheel. I don't really like it. I can make it work, but it's back to what we're saying. That it's a balance, a compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
It can't be everything for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So you had mentioned one of the guys in the group, competitive shooter. Do you know of any other areas that your parts are being used in competition at all? Aside from, I use them personally. I've used it on, or we actually build our competition ruck. Our Rainier Arms ruck rifle has forward controls on them. and I just used it out in Finland, and I love them. But is there any other people that you know about or areas that you know about where your products are being used heavily?
In competition, honestly, no, because we're just not in that space. I can cite more instances where the products are used in the military and law enforcement more than I can cite the cases in competition, just because I don't compete.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the LPVO version of the ACF being used in that matter wouldn't surprise me, but ACF has also been one of the sleepers. That is because it doesn't follow the trends. The trend is, well, not just mention what they are, but just that we don't follow them. With our the way the handle is fixed is for a reason. The way that the handle is shaped, for instance, it doesn't have a forward canting angle. In fact, it has a very slight rear sweep. That's also for a reason. And this reason it doesn't work for everybody, but for people that have had that happen to them, they appreciate that. So. We can't. I don't keep saying this. We can't be everything to everybody. It's our product is the way that we like it. If you want a charging handle with these features, it just won't be ours. And if it works for you, okay, great. And I just don't want it ours.
Yeah. So before the video, we were talking a lot about the QC process that. We can talk about that, what we are actually talking about. But when it comes to when you come up with an idea, and if you're working with another company, let's say Sons of Liberty or whoever it might be, and I know that we have a Glock plate with you guys as well, which I have on my Glock. But what's the testing? What does that look like when it comes to I got this new part? What do you do to make sure that you like it? What kind of tests or what kind of rigorous testing or anything that you're doing with it?
Usually, because our parts are simple, so we don't have a slogan, but if we had one, that is simplicity.
Yeah,
is the ultimate sophistication. I not to beat my own drum, but it is rather difficult to make something simple as opposed to making something difficult. Complicated.
Yeah,
it's quite a challenge. Many of our parts are simple in design, in execution, and use. Some parts that have multiple parts, it's more like a system, like our ambient mag catch, for instance. The version 1 was simple, but it has its drawbacks, and that's not compatible with large frame ARs. Our V2 has been in development for nearly 2 years now. Now, it's why. I will use that, for instance. It requires too much of a right side mag travel to release magazine. Got to fix that. But by fixing this, we'll create a problem on the left side because now it's too easy to actuate. So you got to have a compromise somewhere. And these things nobody can tell you until you try it. But otherwise, for most devices, for instance, we test them a lot. Not force on if it's a suppressor mount, we got to make sure that it provides good seal. But on top of that, our mouse devices, we want our mouse devices, like our flash suppressors, especially, they have to be functional and good mouse devices on their own without the suppressor. So it's not just it's not just a suppressor mount. Yeah. And for our Plan B mouse devices, we partnered with actually it's Revival Defense. We do a lot of testing that way, and the latest one is an A1 form factor 6315, and we got to test that just because 6315 in A2 configuration worked. That doesn't automatically confer anything. We still got to test it. Yeah. We have to test. We're going to see how well it works in the way of a flash suppression. We're going to make sure that it provides good seal, and that also took a little bit of time. So we don't release something until we're happy with. ERMA V2. That's the version 2 version of our ambient mag catch. Man, talk about long development time. That is it, the longest ever. Just because. Okay, let's do this prototype. Oh, we gotta change this, and we changed. Shoot, now it creates a problem on the other side that we were so focused on fixing this one problem, But now we fixed it. Unfortunately, by doing so, it created another problem on the left side. Yeah, so now we have a solution for it. But it's good enough, just not going to be. It doesn't work, because if we're not happy with it, how can we expect anyone else to be happy with it? So we are our worst. We have to be our own worst critic. If it's not good enough for us, we're not. I would rather not even sell it, because it becomes a problem for other people, for the users. It's not worth it. We recently rejected about 500 gas blocks.
Oh wow!
Because the shop that made the 625 gas block was completely off. And then they also made the 750. I'm like, well, I don't even want those, because if they're capable of making these mistakes, I have zero confidence that the 750 that we think is going to be okay is going to be okay. So it's just not a risk worth taking. I mean, we routinely reject, and we made them into keychains.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, you drop them on the watering hole.
Yeah, right. A bow catcher, for instance, we realized that some of them don't cut the same. Some of them are super hard, some of them are super soft. That's because the metal that was used, I got them tested. Because of the machine shop say it seems very soft, so we got to test it. Sure enough, we weren't comfortable with it. So there was like 1,500 bow catchers that we turned into keychains. Some of them are going to be okay, but just our reputation is a lot more important than revenue, and this is going to come. This will haunt us for years to come.
Oh yeah.
If we ever do anything unscrupulous like that, it's just not worth it. You guys know Rainier Arms. You had to fight and work very hard to get to where you are. Once you get there, and I'm not saying that we are where we want to be. I mean, I'm comfortable with where we are. We're small. We want to remain small. I don't want to have a big building with a big sign. It doesn't matter. I don't have a big ego. I don't care about things like that. I want to be able to continue to make things for people that we care about, things that we're happy with, things we want. All of these external goals like revenue, size, whatever, okay, they're worthy goals, but just not for us. But you guys know how it is. To get to where you are, you have to work very hard to get there. And once you are at that point, you have to work even harder to keep yourself there. Yep. It's very easy, and we've seen this before. The industry provides plenty of examples when people get complacent and they say, you know what, I can go on vacation for 6 months out of the year now. I can do things a little, because we're so big, we can get away with it. No, we don't get away with anything, because I don't let anybody here get away with anything, and we don't let shops get away with anything. So if anything, we got to do more QC than we had before, because the volume goes up, and for a lot of, it seems to be a trend. When companies get bigger, the quality control, customer service seems to go in the opposite direction. Yep. We don't do that. If you call us, we don't try to hide our phone numbers. If you call us, we pick up the phone, pretty much. Almost any time. People are super surprised on a Sunday, like 8 o'clock, we'll pick up, well, maybe not Sunday 8 o'clock, but on Sunday, Saturday, 5 o'clock, we still pick up the phone, because, if you call us, there's a reason. And also, my type A personality, for better or worse, I just can't leave things undone. If there's something to do, let's get it done, so that we don't leave it for later. So that's worked well for us. It is somewhat neurotic in that, hey, we got this, I don't want to see this on, I want to take care of this. That's worked well in that if customers have a problem, we take care of it right away. If there is a product that needs to be recalled, we don't make a secret of it. Hey, so we have a problem. If you have that, please call us. It's because it seems to be people say, "Oh, this is great. This is above and beyond." No, I don't think it is. I think it's just the way things should be done. But sorry, I went off on a tangent. Right. So I forgot what we're talking about. So our products are primarily a reflection of our experience. But that experience does encompass everything. Right? Like I said, law enforcement, military, and competition shooters, we have none of those. So we heavily rely on feedback from users. Without feedback, I think, we still have enough products, but it just wouldn't be as practical and versatile.
It wouldn't be. And I think one of your biggest assets, at least outside looking in, I'm sure you have lots of big assets, but the watering hole on Facebook is like, I feel like a wealth of knowledge. It's a place where guys and girls can openly talk to you, and you engage on that platform a lot. That's, I will want to be relatable, and we are relatable. We want to be reachable, and we are. We want to connect to people, and we do. It's not something that's, hey, we got to do this, right? It's not like I read in a book, hey, you got to do X, Y, Z. We just do this because we have always been that way. Yeah.
And to this day, revenue is, we have goals now. They are very minor goals, but none of it ever involves revenue. That's because for a long time, FCD didn't make money, right? As a small business, I'm sure John can relate to this. When he started Rainier Arms out of his garage, he would be happy to, hey, I made a little bit of money. It's great, but whatever. But you have a mission. Profit comes as a result of that, but I don't pay attention to it. The watering hole is great. I can't remember how many new products or improvements we have done because of the input we received.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the collaborations we had with Chris Geist at Ghostman Designs, he wasn't the first one that brought it up. Chance Whiteman, he's the armor at Abilene PD, and his armor and range master over there, and he was came to the house. It's like, hey, once 2021, after we moved to Texas, he said, why don't you guys make this? I'm like, okay, yeah, sounds like a good idea. But we never got to. We were in the process of making this, but so we actually got quote for it. It's very expensive to make this. The problem I'm talking about is we call it ASC or ALS spring cap for Safari Land 6000 and some of the 7000 series holsters. Those caps are plastic; they break easily. Yep. And I've talked enough law enforcement guys. They get out of the squad car, you bump into something, the thing breaks, and the spring was also a problem. So, based on that, this feedback, we made it. It's not good. It's not a great seller. But that never stop me because what people that need is, so if you're in SWAT or if you're a law enforcement, you're fighting with somebody on the ground or you're shooting from a weird position, right, where you're sitting from the side. Now your spring cap is rubbing on the floor. It could either break or and then now your ALS lever doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we made it because there was demand for it. It doesn't sell very well. I don't really care because, see, it kind of makes sense, I guess. I think it makes sense that why do you keep making things that nobody buys? Because because the audience is understandably small.
Yeah.
Of all the customers we have, what's the percentage of that is military? How much of it is police, and how much percent of that is SWAT? It's not very big.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we have a mission, and this fits our mission profile. We do it not because of money. It never really matters to us all that much.
It's important for those people though. If you can help 15 SWAT people come home to their loved ones and take care of bad situations, that's worth it.
Right. So now the ALS is not. It doesn't make the difference between life and death. But it's just something that breaks. That the Safari doesn't sell you replacement caps or springs. Okay. Well, someone's got to do it. Because without it, you had to buy a new holster, $100-some a pop, right?
Yeah.
So I was supposed to spending, say $30-40 on the spring cap and $3 on the spring, which Safari Lane also doesn't sell. The group has been an invaluable source for us. It's been brought a couple times. He said, "Oh, you are very smart and you use." And I'm like, "No, you think I designed this? No, it just happens that way." Right, the group has been around since maybe 2016. By then, there was like 5 people, right, in there, and I largely forgot about it. And then when Forward Control became more popular on Facebook, we decided, let's invite more people in, and that's how that happens. I didn't say, hey, I want your feedback, I want your input. People just give it freely. and we have been able to.
Sometimes even when you don't want it.
Well, no, I mean, it's we can't use everything, but a lot of it that we find useful, that like we're going to incorporate it. So a lot of our products from 2015, I can tell you that the Mac release button that got changed twice. There's no version number on it. EMRA that was 2017. This is on version 2. The bolt catch is now there's going to be a version 4. Well, so some I guess I know folks have said I'm humble. I don't know if that's true, but I just know that there are people that know a lot more than I do, especially in our group. I mean, you got people from Nice Armaments and Maple and Jim Hodge and folks from Mike and Kyle from Science. These guys know a lot more than I do. If I come off like I know a lot of things, yeah, right, okay, no, you don't. And you don't open your mouth and say something like that. So the best thing to do is just sit and listen and grab what and learn if you can. Because if I knew everything, would the bolt catch be on version 4?
Right.
They will be on version 1 still because I did everything right the first time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now I can say that there are some products that we never changed, like the sound and mouse devices, and also the pistol plates. We don't have version 2 or 3 because we got it right the first time.
Yeah.
But it's a simple product. So it is, I can't say that we get everything right always the first time.
Yeah.
But when we see opportunity to improve it, we do that. It's unfortunately, it kind of ties to the cost of our products because we don't we don't do injection anything. For the bolt catch, well, actually, that was a time when we worked with War Sports. You remember War Sports back in the days? We actually have fortune for this. Okay. And we could give them MIMS or injection molded, whatever. There's just many ways to do that, but we never do it because milling out of solids gives us options. We could very quickly pivot and change. So if you got a mold for $15,000, you're not going to be making 4 different molds every 2 molds every single year. It's expensive. So because our volume is such that it doesn't. We can't justify it, but what works for us is that if we want to make changes, we can do that very quickly. So from 2015 to 2024, 9 years, we are on version 4 because we keep making changes to it. We keep making it better. So these products are pretty old, but I've seen what can happen if you just rest on your laurels. You say, this fine, we're not going to touch successful products. Well, yes, it does well. I don't have to change it from V2, but if we can, we're going to.
Yeah.
Of course, every time we do that, it costs money. But it serves a purpose. It's for the users. They find it useful, so we should do it. Yeah.
I think that's huge, though. I mean, as an end user, I use a lot of FCD parts, and I mean, I can appreciate that, and I know everybody else does, or you wouldn't have the following that you do, But you had mentioned John, and I want to make sure we talk about that because you and John have a partnership that has gone back quite a ways. So let's talk about that. Where, when, how did you meet John?
In 2009, when Battle Arms first started, they had a couple of products, and nobody was all that interested in them. And I think the first product that kind of put the company on the map was the safety. And I think John might have, I think what he did reach out to us, so we'll give him the price list, or maybe it was us that approached. I can't remember which one it was now. And he actually didn't want to carry it. And understandable, because a company that nobody had heard of, from 2 dudes that nobody heard of, we were not in the industry. And in fact, if you mention my name anywhere now, they're like, who, what? You know what? And the same thing with the company. That's fine. But in 2009, that was even more so. Because I was in IT for at the time, and my partner at the time was in his industry. So we started this company making things that nobody really cared about that much, and we came up with the safety. And then, so it didn't take very long for him to say, now we want to try it. So he bought like 10 or 20 of them. And then when things start rolling, they did well for them. And then, so yeah, he gave us a chance. Now, this is very hard to do in this industry. So if you want to start, people that want to start in this industry, yeah, I don't envy them because I've done it twice. And neither was easy. So John gave us a chance. He took a chance on us. So I was very grateful. I mean, he bought something that he could lose money on because, so if he was cautious like that, imagine the customers. This company XYZ made this okay, and by then the ambient safety wasn't new, but the idea that you could change levers the way that you wanted, that was new. That was at this time. It didn't take very long for people to see the benefit of it, but still, concept was new. So he took a chance on us and bought the products, and I found out what a great person that he was, because over the year we had talked to him and talked to Rainier guys, and Rainier Arms is one of our oldest dealers. In fact, it was the first dealer for FCD for sure, because after I've led Battle Arms, I thought I made some contacts, things would be easier for us. No, it was not, but at least I knew how things worked.
Yeah.
So. Whereas some folks wouldn't even return calls or emails anymore since I wasn't in a position to help them anymore, John had been there for me. When we were nobody at Battle Arms, when I were FCD and me were nobody in this industry. So he helped us twice. And I've always been very grateful about that. And every time I talk to him, he's like, it's nothing. He's very humble. I'm talking about a humble person.
Yeah.
Right? And he doesn't think much of it. I know if he did that for us, I know he'd done it for other people. And this is something a lot of people don't realize of what impact he's had. Rainier Arms obviously is a successful outfit. It has a great name and reputation in the industry. But I think most people don't realize what he has done behind the scenes.
Yeah.
By buying these products, he has helped this industry, helped small companies like us that would have had otherwise a very hard time being accepted. Mm-hmm. And he did that for us, for me, twice. And he never asked for anything. He's like, we can do this if you gotta give us better terms. He never asked for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. John has been instrumental for us, and he understates his value.
Oh, he does. Like I didn't know that. I had been with the company for a couple years before I even really realized that, and I only realized it because Thomas and I were out at shows, and just the amount of people that would come up and just talk to us about John, just like, oh man, John helped me get going. And there's some good sized companies now that were like, I owe a lot to what John did to help me out.
Yeah.
If it was just guidance or giving them a chance or whatever it might be. And so I'm very thankful to be working for a guy like that, because he is awesome. He's an easy person to work for, and he's so humble. He won't talk about any of the good things he's ever done. He'll just talk about how good other people are. This industry doesn't have enough people like John. Just like anywhere else in other field, you're going to have good and bad. But John, he's definitely one of the good guys. And Rainier Arms has been around, and I consider Rainier Arms one of the pillars of the community. Well, thank you.
So. There was one time he asked me for help. I'm like, you asking me for help? So I'm a nobody. But it's great. What do you need, right? It's I never let him forget that I don't forget this.
Yeah.
And I let everyone else know as well. That it's this is almost like a very well kept secret. I don't think it should be a secret. That he has done a lot for people that don't even realize they have benefited from his kindness, from his generosity, in helping other companies get to where they are, and they are indirectly benefited from this.
I agree. I think that's something that needs to be out there a lot more. That might be something that we start focusing on.
Well, no, John will let you do that. I mean, we're bringing this up because I want to make sure, and then we want to make sure. I want to make sure we talk about this because he and Randy Arms don't get enough credit for what he's done behind the scenes. It's there are bad things that go on behind the scene as well. I think there is this unspoken rule that don't speak ill of other companies. I mean, they happen sometimes.
Yeah.
It seems to happen with suppressor companies a lot more than the component sides and gun company sides. We're all kind of friends. A lot of us know one another. It's a small community. It's big, but also it's not that big.
Yeah.
So I mean, we should talk about it more. But just like we don't talk about bad things, we also talk about things like this, because he himself is so quiet about it.
Yep.
He would never say, what I did, right? He's not one of those guys that says, do you know who I am, right? I hate people like that. Who are you, right? I mean, if you say something like that, I don't know who you are. I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But he's just the opposite. He's understated. He's quiet. He just does his thing. It's his influence, his impact will be here long after he and I are gone. And people don't realize how big that is, just because it's not talked about enough.
It's not, but I think he'll enjoy hearing that though, because even though he doesn't talk about it, I think sometimes he doesn't realize it. I mean, he has to, but I don't know. Maybe he doesn't quite understand what he's done for people. I think
he's aware, but because he doesn't think so much of himself.
Yeah.
Because he's such a humble guy. I hope that we will have made some impact to the industry. And there's one thing that a lot of people don't know about either. And unlike John, I will talk about it. It's the push for short throw safety. Because when I was at Battle Realms, I was the one pushing it. And at the time, there was a lot of hey, why it broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine my surprise when we introduced the ASF in 2020, that most people opt for the short throw. That was just the opposite when I was there. A few people wanted it, and now the trend has changed. So it's most of them. I mean, we sell more short throw than 90, something more like 3 or 4 to 1 these days.
Oh yeah, I put it on every one of my rifles.
Yeah. So this is not something that people talk about, but yeah, I was part of that push to make it into an accepted alternative. But the idea is if you want to have different triggers, you have that. Nobody makes fun of you. Nobody makes fun of you. But if you want to put different safety, oh no, we don't want that. It's why important, don't fix it, right? But eventually the industry did correct itself, right? Hey, this is useful. So yes, I pushed it, but of course, I wasn't the one that made everybody do it.
Yeah.
But I remember the days when we were working with different companies to make that happen. A lot of people just didn't care for it.
Yeah, so weird. It's after the fact. To me, it makes sense. It's so much more comfortable to run a 50 or 45 degree safety selector rather than a 90. And then now it's oh yeah, that makes sense. But back then, people didn't want it. They wanted the 90 because that's what they're used to, and it works just fine.
Yeah, it's one of the good trends, right? There's a lot of trends in the industry. Some of them I can get behind. Some of them I was. This part I was responsible for, the ambi controls.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't come up with ambi charging handle. Badger has that patent in the ambi charging handle. That was theirs, and I'm sorry, yeah. So MB safety that was not new. It was just it was like a niche market. Nowadays, it's everyone. I mean, a lot of companies have it.
Yep.
I know the one that we co-developed with Suns. It's yes, I'm biased, but I would say it's one of the best, if not the best. There's also Badger. Badger is excellent.
Yeah. Badger makes really good stuff, but that's a different conversation.
You should do an interview with them.
We are going to. We talked to them during TriggerCon, and we're going to be doing an interview with them as well.
Yeah, so Badger is one of those companies that man, I want to be like them. I won't be, but because they're so successful, I'm not sure how big they are, but they are very, very good at what they do. And same thing with some, like Unity, for instance. They, in some ways, I kind of want to be like them. Because they're approachable, they are relatable. They may not spend as much time on social media as I do, but I don't want to spend that much time on social media because it just takes so much time.
It does,
and every now and then I put my foot in my mouth, and that is also kind of regrettable. But but exposure goes both ways.
It does, yeah.
It's it's good. It's also every now and then you're not careful, then oops, maybe shouldn't have done that.
So I gotta ask, how did the whole duck thing come up?
Okay, so remember we're in California.
Yep.
Up until late 2020 when we moved to Texas. The first chance we got, we moved out here. In California, it's the gun industry in California. I mean, there are companies out there, but if you want to succeed, don't go to California because it's not gun friendly. It's not small business friendly.
I grew up in Northern California, so I'm used to the environment there.
Yeah. So we wanted a company name that does not say that what we do, and also a logo that also not indicative of what we do. So our first logo was this twin arrow logo that looks basically like a stylized fast forward button. That's what it is really. Instead of two triangles pointing to the right, we have two arrows pointing to the right. So it worked. Whatever, it was boring, but it worked in that it doesn't tell people, oh, these guys make guns or they make gun parts. And then one day, I saw a Cygnus logo, a patch. I thought it's kind of cool, but I didn't think much of it. But there's one product that we had designed but we never made. That it's a FN SCAR configurable or a modular charging handle, and one of the charging handle is the shape of a wing. Like, hey, this looks a lot like the product we made. So I just kind of went with that. And so we did things a little differently, so that it doesn't look like something that everyone else has already used. But of course, in 2024, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, it kind of makes sense why people call it a duck, because it actually kind of looks like a duck because it's supposed to be a swan, right? Yeah. Cygnus is a Greek word for swan. It's a constellation. Yep. But a swan's neck is much longer than a duck. Duck's got a short neck, and unknowingly I made ours look like a duck, but it was not intentional. But it's worked for us. I remember some of our friends like, what's this? Is it a goose or duck? I'm like, nah, dude, it's neither. It's a swan. But hold on, people call it duck. So it became popular. That's so yeah, people call it duck. So we just ran with it, and we have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, in the watering hole, it's all about. It's just, it cracks me up. Everybody wants duck everything, but it's interesting to hear stories how things come along. It's kind of like nicknames, like, your dog's name is Charlie, and then it ends up having a nickname that's so far from Charlie. You're like, how did we even get there? So that was kind of my confusion when I was first introduced to FCD. I knew it based on the duck aspect, but then I was actually looking into the company a couple years ago, and I'm like, what is this duck thing?
Right.
But it's huge in the community.
That was kind of the idea. Was we want something that was so abstract. That's it's like it could be a picture of a rock or that matter, because it just can't be a gun or a sword or spear, because it just gives away too much. Yeah. We don't want people to know. And so we were in the suburb of LA. Well, LA is a cesspool of liberals, and I don't want people to know that. And to this day, we still don't have our address on the website. It has the city and state and zip code, and that's it. But because of what we call our home. But at the time in California, now we didn't want people to know. People over there are like, wow, you have guns? Oh man, really?
Yeah.
Over here, you don't have a gun? You really? Right. Yeah, it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
But it does its job in that it's completely unrelated to what we do. What does a constellation have to do with us? Nothing.
Yep.
But then, so what does a Greek helmet have anything to do with anything, right? I mean, what are you, Greek? No. Do you make helmets? No. So what does that have anything to do with you, right? So it's the same thing, but it's worked out in our favor because ducks are lovable. They're cute. They're water funny. They're friendly. So better than a snake, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what couldn't do with a snake? I could do something with a snake, but I'd much rather have a duck.
And you do.
Better than a chicken, right? Chicken, okay, well, I read him.
Oh, come on now. I have 120 chickens.
No, chicken, okay. But chicken as a logo, that would be kind of funny.
That would be kind of funny. Chickens are really cool, though.
But you think about it, no less or more so than a duck, right?
In the farmstead world, ducks and chickens kind of go together. They usually, if you have chickens, you end up having ducks, vice versa. But ducks are super cool and they're super cute. And I wasn't surprised when I found a bunch of little ducks all around your place. And it's not over the top. You don't have too many.
My wife went back to their fur. We got too many.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's like, no more ducks, tchotchkes. I'm like, oh, okay. So one day I bought this brass duck. And it's like she was so pissed. So I put it in a place where she can see and keep being reminded of that. I got another duck. But no, I actually had a lot of duck like decoys. Even way before we had the logo. So I didn't know at the time, but I would like birds and ducks, and I just long before it became a thing for us.
Okay.
But dogs are funny. I mean, there's no shortage of jokes and memes and toys. It's great animal to have us as a company, a mascot.
Oh, I agree. So let's go ahead and get into the part that I really want to do. We reached out to the group on the watering hole, and we asked them specifically if there's any questions that they wanted you to answer. One that there was a few different ones, and I didn't write it down, but I actually do want to bring it up. What's up with this okra?
Yeah. Okay. So I did just a few foods I can't stand. Okra just happened to be the focus of my wrath that day. Because we couldn't, my wife couldn't grow it in our yard, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It's hairy, right? And she's like, also slimy when you cook it. I'm like, okay, well, that tastes it tastes like crap. What the hell is this? So one day I kind of just said something about it. Right, just like the other day, I said something like, the eggnog is horrible.
Oh, I love eggnog. I love it.
No, it was more, okay, so it's more like a topic to bring up in the group.
Sure.
Because, every now and then I would talk about stuff like completely unrelated, like, like okra was happened to be one of them. It's just like eggnog. I mean, I don't hate eggnog. I taste it like, this is terrible. But I'm not fixated on it. Yeah. And the okra thing was something. I mean, there's more foods that I don't like than the okra, but because she couldn't grow it, and I constantly see it, and every now and then she would say, hey, try this. I'm like, I tried it. I'm like, and I spit it out because I didn't like it. So I just posted it in the group, and that became a thing.
Yeah, but that's fun. That's part of the community aspect. Right. You're engaging and you're creating essentially inside jokes. You're creating things that are just it's enjoyable, because as much as we love everything in the firearms industry, it's nice to have like my firearms friends like Thomas. I'm not just talking to Thomas only about firearm stuff, right? Yeah. But that's how we know each other really well, and that's what we've worked with. But we're able to talk about so many other things and have that conversation, and that's going to create a better bond than only having one thing that holds us together.
So it wasn't done on purpose to make it a thing. Just like with eggnog, I'm not going to make it a thing unless it keeps coming up. Then I'm going to make it a thing. Then it becomes funny, right? We're going to have eggnog jokes, and we're going to, I can come up with some things.
Some eggnog colored parts?
Yeah, okay, that's a good idea. What color is eggnog?
I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I thought you liked it.
Oh, I do, but I just drink it. It's kind of a
off-white yellow?
Off-white, yeah, almost a yellowish. It depends. Some of it has more spice in it, so it's got like the.
Be careful. If you're not careful, we're gonna have this okra stuff named after you.
That's okay. My nickname's a Vanilla Gorilla. We can do something with the eggnog. We'll figure it out.
No, you're right about, it was just one of, every now and then I don't have anything, I don't want to talk about guns all the time. Yes, we like guns, it's our hobby, but I don't live and breathe guns. Okay? Because while you walk around here, you can use this lots of guns. We have 2 racks of guns. The reason for that is because we are working on them. Yeah. This is Mark 12 you see there, because we're working on this, so they're there. We also have guns with different muzzle devices and different mag catchers. There are prototypes or working products that we have, so that in California, I had an AR-15 sitting out at any given time, always. The idea is that I want to see, hey, can I do something better than what's already out there? And it's still true today. But for now, our scope has widened quite a bit and into different areas. But I like guns, obviously, but I don't. Not everything I do is about guns. We have friends that we have met and known, we become good friends because of it. But that's not all there is. When we come in here, we don't talk shop all the time. It's boring.
Yeah.
That's what we do, but that's not what they do. Yeah, they like us as well, but people have lives.
Oh, yeah.
They have families, they have interests, and they have dislikes as well. So yeah, it's just one of the ways. Like I just bring it up because hey, have you seen this movie? Right? Got nothing to do with guns.
Yeah.
And Okra was just one of them that became a thing.
I missed the whole like birth child of that. I didn't know how it started, but I just kept seeing the okra stuff pop up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna definitely figure out what's going on here. I'm not a big fan of it either. Fried okra I can do, but okra any other way, not a big fan of. It's a weird texture.
It's hairy and it's got seeds, and I just don't like it. I mean, but it's became a thing that I think it's gonna be with us for a while.
I think
but
so.
I also don't want to overdo it because then it becomes old.
Yeah, definitely. It gets overplayed. Okay, more questions. So we had one guy was asking for you to go in depth on the LRF receiver, the history, design cues, and the innovation of it.
Okay. So Kyle, as sons, I said, hey, you guys want to do a work together? Or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember now. It was from 2020, what's like 18? It's been a long time. Maybe 19. So I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we started with this template, and I changed quite a few things on it. And I think that was the time when they were working with Zev still. I think they still work with Zev, but it was basically Zev for a bill lower. And I like Zev, I like Mega, but some things we changed for looks. That's definitely true. But you will, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know it's there. For instance, see, one of the things I don't like to do fashion or looks is because I find it easy. Mm-hmm. And it's easy. I don't want to because it's lazy. If you just do things that are easy in your life, you're never going to get anywhere, right? A lot of things we do not because it's easy, it's because it's worth doing. Mm-hmm. In this case, and the lower, the base lower, everything is functional, but I just didn't like how it has too many organic shapes to it. Okay, now the AR that we own, that everybody knows, has a distinctive shape. Of course, it's got corners, it's got curves, but everybody knows where they are and we're used to it. Mm-hmm. The aesthetic part of it was I got rid of organic shaping and replaced it with flat shapes and facets and corners, but not sharp corners, because you have sharp corners to snatch on things. Yeah. But that was easy. I said, hey, instead of having this curved thing, let's just make it straight. And we incorporated our winter trigger guard in the trigger guard. So instead of having this weird curve shape, now it has our winter trigger guard shape. Now functionally, I wanted to be a fence for the NB mag catch, because our mag catch it works well, but it's just about its only drawback is that it's unprotected, unlike the right side mag button that is protected. So I want to make sure that it has a fence so that it's a lot less likely to accidentally actuate it. The bevel, the relief on the pivot pin, on the takedown pin, it's there so that when you push it in, there's more of it that comes out on the right side because now there's a pretty aggressive bevel that allows you to push the pin in further. The more you can do that, the more there is on the right side to put it out. Mm-hmm. And now we also make the right side mag release button fence taller. Not much taller, but just slightly taller than if you use the TDP spec mag release button. And mag catch, it's not just flush. Actually, the top surface of the button will stay below the fence. Okay. Because when it's flush, it does its job. Mm-hmm. But it would be better if it was even low. It's below the fence height, because it only requires the catch part of the mag catch, the part that engages the magazine catch or the magazine cutout, is only 0.05 inch. It's very, very short. So that means anything over that point, like 0.067, is enough to drop the magazine. So it's not very tolerant. Mm-hmm. So we made the right side fence taller. For that, but otherwise, it's I want I said, I don't want you to look at it like, oh, I look at this, it looks so cool. No, I want you to take a list like, what am I looking at here? Well, I don't want, see, all these features are going to be there. I don't want them to say, hey, look at me, I'm here. It's just not what we do. You know, because I just don't have a lot of respect for products that do that. Because you're buying for the looks of it. But the thing about looks or fashion, for that matter, is that they have a shelf life.
Yep.
Right. The cowboy thing was in the early 90s for a while, and they went away. Now over here, it never went away because it's just a way of life here. Right?
Yeah.
So it's very different. And then I look at the bell-bottom pants. You know, were popular in the 80s or in the 70s. Now they're not. And jackets with big shoulder, and now there's no shoulder. Big lapel, small lapel. Ultimately, they're all functionally the same. It's just they change all the time. As a business, I think it'd be somewhat difficult to have to keep changing according to the trends. So for that reason, we don't follow any. I mean, that's one of the reasons.
Keeps it timeless, so it's going to be applicable. Always.
It's really a fringe benefit, but because we design around function and now looks, functions don't go away, right? So if you find an NB mag catch useful or NB safety useful, that doesn't change regardless of time. You know, it's what useful is what useful. That doesn't change. But if you want to go from say, we allow lightning cuts to none, and now back and forth. It just keeps changing. So for business, I don't think it's good. For us, it's not a good business model to keep changing according to the trend. So we don't follow trends. We follow function. Functions stay. Trends change.
Yeah.
And fashion change. So we don't do that.
Yeah. Besides mullets are always being styled.
No, so the LRF is so other than with Adam TAR, it's evolved weapon system. That is our mainstay. We don't scout our small silliness on the side, but it doesn't. When you look at it, like you see it's somewhat different because the flare magwell that's probably the most noticeable part because it's bigger than TDP. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of times I forget it's billet because it looks so much like a forged lower.
Yeah.
But that's how we want it. And the Suns is the same way. They don't want to make things for looks. They don't want to say, oh, look at me, I'm different. No, it works. That's what we want. And it looks, don't care. But it just can't look ugly.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to aesthetics, some parts like, oh, okay, we can't make it look like this because it looks too much like a human part, human body part. Okay, so that's about the only time but looks come easy to us. It's understated, and it works.
Okay. So next one, what's next for SCD and Roger in Kunji? They say, I know Roger and Kunji work timelessly, but what's next? Will a replacement CEO be appointed so Roger can relax and travel or something?
Well, that's kind of underway now, but I think for the next couple of years we're not going to see any drastic changes. But the idea is to transition into it without like on one day it's like under new management, right? So for that reason, I don't think we're going to sell it. We're going to keep it in the family. Good. But yeah, it's a small business. It's not easy. You have your own boss, and John can tell you this. Just because you don't have to work, 6 months out of the year, you can't get away with it because there will be consequences if you do that. And we work from the week we get up until we go to sleep, pretty much, and we take very little time off. And it has consequences too, in that we're always working, and I don't want to think that we're at the point that I don't have to work this hard anymore. Yeah, I mean, actually, we kind of are, but some of the tasks that I used to handle myself are being handled by other people, and then nobody knows that because this transition has been seamless. Right? So the difference of me filling orders versus say Roger filling orders, it makes no difference. Or talking to a vendor about something, they don't really care who they talk to, just as long as we retain the way we do business, the way that people can reach us anytime, and that we are we're responsive. But yeah, I do want to work less because the way we've been going at this is just not sustainable. I mean, we have made it work, and I can tell the company doesn't like it one bit. And we on the weekend we're working.
Yeah.
We very rarely take time off, and but I want to start doing that a little more, but not in a way that that people will say, "Oh, I can see that company is different now."
Not at a detriment.
That is not a good thing. I noticed it that he does. Okay, so if I'm not on Facebook, nobody really noticed that. But if we start changing things around, where we become more corporate, more focused on profits, I hate that. I don't like bean counters. No, I would never operate like one. Now, of course, we got to pay attention to accounting and all that stuff, but just focus on doing the right thing for people. Really, that's not very hard. It costs money to do that. It costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So, for instance, it's a very little thing. You guys do the same thing. A lot of companies do the same thing. That if it's say you order something, USPS delivered it to a wrong house, and they say they deliver, but you don't have it. Okay, shoot. Okay, let's work with them. If they're not going to replace it, they don't honor the insurance claim, we're going to take care of this. It costs money to do that, but there's the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do would be like, sorry, man, you're going to have to deal with the post office.
Yeah.
Man, people are not going to like that.
Yeah.
And we know what a pain but it is to deal with the post office, and I don't do that anymore. Koji does because I don't have the patience for it. Me, I'll be like, God, you know what? Yeah, you guys suck because you never take responsibility for the wrong things you do. Yep. You delivered it. He said he doesn't have it. Dude, I don't trust you guys because you've done this like every single week or every single month. But it's just little things like this, right? Mm-hmm. Or when people overtour something, or they don't follow instructions, they mango something. Okay, at this point, it's really not under warranty anymore.
Yeah.
But we're still going to honor it. And there was, I can't mention names, but somebody asked, one of our dealers sent in a picture or say, hey, ask me about HoloSun working without plate. And then he sent this picture. So I wouldn't know what it was. I said it's because the user had used the long HoloSun screws on our plate, so now he's bent. In fact, here's our fact section. It talks about just like that. He has a picture that looks just like yours. That's why I know this. I said that's the reason why I don't want to support HoloSun anymore. I never want to. But the thing is, some of their sites do work without plates. So whatever, we have big disclaimers that say do not use our screws. Do not use the long HoloSun screws, because if you do that, you keep torquing. This is what's going to happen. There's a picture of it, right? It will leave nothing to the imagination. If there's a picture of it, so you can see what it looks like if you do that. So whoever did it didn't read that, even though they carry our products. So he overturned that, say, you know what? No, don't worry about it. Now we're on who to replace it, but I don't want to leave the customer hanging. I said, what's his name? He said the name is the company's namesake. Like, him? He did that? Well, he didn't do. His friend did that. So I still offered, but I didn't know that. But it's little things like this that cost money to do. But if you don't do that, we can't say, oh, well, we're going to provide good service and then not do that. Yep. In fact, we always want to under promise and over deliver.
Yep.
People appreciate that. When people spend that kind of money on it, on your products, you gotta take care of them. This is, I don't do this as a means to an end. I don't want to do this. If you have a problem, I don't want to do this for you so that you can say nice things about us. It's because it's our job to take care of you. Mm-hmm. That is the end. There's not a means for something else to happen. This is it. The end is to take care of our customers.
Yeah. I was actually surprised. I didn't know about the screw differences, and I think you posted that in the group at one point. And I ended up relaying that to our customer service guy, and it's actually helped in a couple different scenarios where something like that comes up. People are going to do that.
They're going to continue to do that. But so, I'll take the opportunity to tell you guys that if the customer do that, replace it, and we'll replace it for you, or let us know, or we'll replace it for them. Even though it's not really a warranty issue anymore, because we don't want to cover things that happen because of user action.
Yeah.
Because they use too much torque, and they snap the plate. I've seen this happen twice. A customer, actually, is a police officer. He got the DPP plates. He used our DPP screws, which are very, very long, on the E-flex, which are a little shorter. So when you do that, it's going to bend in place. So he not only did he not stop, he actually kept going until the plate snapped. That I had never seen before. But we still replaced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we don't do that, it's like, man, you know what? Even though we did nothing wrong, they would never buy from us again. It's just,
And they're going to tell their friends, and
well, it's not
they're
just,
not going to tell the whole story.
It's just not. It's not. It's more than that. It's just we can't leave them holding the bag.
Yeah.
I know what they did it. They know they did it. Not going to lecture them about it. Let's just replace it and make them happy. Yeah. It's much easier to make friends that way than lecturing them like you didn't read instructions. We're not going to cover. Man, if I was ever in that situation, and I bothered to call the company, some people just say, "Oops, I screwed up. I'll just ban out the plate." But if you call us, we're not going to deny it. We're not going to not warranty it.
Yeah,
it's a very fast way to make enemies.
Oh yeah. All right, next one. What direction do you see the AR market going over the next 10 years?
I wish I knew.
Right.
Well, no, I was wrong about this, right? So, in terms of whatever I say, there will be some correct, some of them wrong. We branched out to different areas because I did not think. And Jim Hodge has told me this quite a while ago in 2019, I think. By then, he wants to branch out to other things other than the AR. And that's like, Jim, I know. The AR has been around for a long, long time. There's not one thing that's not been developed to death already. So even in incremental matters, it's very hard to squeeze more performance, more ergonomics out of anything these days. Mm-hmm. So that's why, we've been accused of this, and they're not wrong. That's the FCD products offer small incremental improvements. Well, yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do to make it much better than what's already been done, and that's already difficult. Mm-hmm. So for the AR, I think it is the most popular rifle, the most popular gun. Right?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see anything. Just like it's been the case for us as well. There's not going to be anything earth-shattering. We're not going to see anything like, oh my, this is great. All the improvements that we're seeing, either from us or from other folks, they're all incremental. They're just squeezing. A little bit more performance out of it, which is fine. There's always going to be room for that. Mm-hmm. But anything revolutionary, we're not going to see that.
I've been seeing definitely a lot more lately that I feel like the trend is going a lot towards accessories. So something like vertical grips used to be just very plain and basic and just serve their basic purpose. Whereas now you're seeing companies that are putting a lot more effort into the ergonomics and, just like the hand stop that you guys make, the hand stop M-Lock one. I'm trying to remember the acronym. HSM, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Some of the acronyms. Yeah, I know people always make fun of us for that. I'm like, oh, you want us to name them after dinosaurs?
No, they make sense. That's the nice part. Is if you're not sure what an FCD product is, just break it down to what it is. It's a hand stop M-Lock.
Right. So now So I'll bring up I would say. It's a well-known company, well-known product, right? Mm-hmm. Like say Radiance, say Raptor. Raptor is a very well-used name, right? Have a Raptor. What, you have a Ford truck?
Yeah.
Or do you have
a quad?
Or do you have an F-22? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're all named Raptor, right? So ours just named. I'm not saying it's a bad name. It's work for them. Mm-hmm. People have a Raptor charging handle. Okay, well, I know what it is. So it's worth different work for them. Hey, good for them. But for us. I think Patrick, he comes to know and helps us every day. He's like, how I know you're in IT? Because of all the acronyms.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that, but it's kind of true. I don't want to name it because if I got a name that, our products now is like 5 pages. If I didn't gotta come up with a name for everything, now I could run out of names a long time ago, but I would never run out of names for, based on product name based on the product description.
Yeah.
Some of the names are kind of abstract, like the 6315. that was something of a break from our naming convention because it's a number instead of a bunch of letters. But it has a reason too, because 6315 is a flash suppressor based on the Stoner 63. It has this. It's not a square port, but it's just more like a diamond-shaped port. And 15 just means AR-15, as opposed to AR-10. That would be a 5.8 by 24, 30 cal.
All right. So next question: when are the FCD large frame AR receivers hitting the market?
Yeah, well, if Sons wants to do one with us, we would do it with them, and most likely it would just follow the same format. So we have pins for the SR25 pattern, so we can use that already. But otherwise, yeah, I really can't think of a lot of things other than the MB bolt catch. Right now, the LRF has MB mag. Both released, but it doesn't catch. So a lot of people have to ask them for that. So we're still working with them on implementing a right side bolt catch that's also a release. But in some they're very busy. So little things like this, it will take some time. But if it was me, yeah, I would do it if they want to do it. But I'm not sure what I will push for it, because through a market it doesn't move very fast.
Yeah, the big frame stuff doesn't seem to move anywhere near the speed that the AR-15s do.
My wife, she's like, "Oh, you keep saying you don't want to do AR-3 or A stuff anymore, but you keep coming out with more things." Like the pins, they don't move very fast either. So the only through a product that move better for us are the mouse devices. But that's not. It doesn't depend on the form factor. It just needs a 5.8 by 24. So that's a little difference. No, yeah, we would do it if someone wants to do it.
Okay, so possible. It might come out. There's nothing in the works as of right now.
But it's economy of scale, right? Because if they end up selling, say, a couple hundred of them, I wouldn't do a eval with them just because it's not worth it. But see, the thing, I don't believe in selling our name, or using our name to sell things either. Our name is what it is. Our logo is what it is. I don't really appreciate companies putting the logos on selling for more. We've been accused of doing that. Like, no, you have no idea. You think we put our name on something, charge more for it? No, you should see what the cost is on these things, right?
Yeah.
Our ESF, for instance, our end plates, whether it's an eyelet or single socket or 3 socket, it costs us $3.50 each to coat in DLC. It's nearly 10% of the cost of the products is in, maybe not 10%, maybe sometimes 5-6% of that is in coating alone. And of course, because we'll mill everything out of solids, it's not cheap. So anyway, so our stuff is expensive because of that. Like I said earlier, we like to mill out of solids because it allows us to make changes. But because of that, things are a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
If we get a huge contract from the Army or whatever, then we're gonna have to start doing that. But until then, we're happy milling things, and it benefits us because we can make changes fast. It benefits the shop that we work with. They're all in the U.S. and many of them in Texas. Arson that also works with us is in Idaho. There's also Stub and Mill they're in Oregon, but a lot of them are here.
Okay, that's good. That also helps with price if you're not having to source stuff all over the place. You probably built really good relations with a lot of these companies, so it's easy to work with them, and you know their processes and all that.
Sometimes it's a challenge. I'm sure you guys have fun as well when you're making lowers and so you're sourcing parts. It's especially when making guns. This is not a reason why I don't want to make guns, because any one component that's not there, your gun's not going out. Sorry, right? Back in COVID days, we can't get receivers. You have everything else. You don't have operators, lowers. Sorry, they're just a bunch of money tied up. You can't move them. It's working with competent and honest shops. That the ones we work with are great. I trust them. The ones that we don't work with anymore, they're winning away for a reason.
Yeah. Okay. So another question: who are some companies that you have not had a collab with, but you would like to see FCD working with in the future?
Oh, I'm not sure if I can answer that one. We're friends with many of them, but a lot of them also they don't need us. They don't need our help.
Yeah.
And to imply that they need our help, I don't want to even say that. It's like, oh, I can make it better. I'm like, why? Just like somebody say, I can make a product better. I'm like, okay, I won't be offended. I'd be like, oh, in what way, right? There's a few. I will work with anybody that asks us, and not everybody, but folks that we're friends with. But usually, usually they don't need us because they are where they are because of what they have done, but on their own.
Yeah.
Science doesn't need us either. We just work with them just because it's just good timing. And good products. We'll carry their products too. It just has to fit both parties' needs, and it's not always necessary to work with us to improve their products. A lot of times their products are very good over, like Badger, for instance. They don't need us.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can really help them because they've done very well without us, and they don't need us. And so I don't want to say I don't need them, but things, our products are different enough that our charging handles, the safeties, and we don't make skull mounts. But if I ever want to carry them, I would just buy something instead of say make a version for us. The market is saturated as it is.
Yeah, there are a lot of options.
Yeah, there is a bipod company. I think they call it Accuracy something, long range accuracy. So we bought one of their products, and we're going to see about if I can make it slightly better. But even so, it won't be just for us, because it'll be just for them. Hey, here's what I think you can do better. Okay? That advice is free. Use it, only use. I don't want to return.
No, that's cool.
But
so helping the community change, helping the industry change, without trying to benefit from every aspect of it.
Right, because it's community. Whether we benefit from it or not, because remember, I don't really care about profits. We're fine. But if this change makes things better for the company, and they in turn make a better product, and that benefits users, in my opinion, the community wins.
Yep.
I don't have to benefit from it financially for that to be a win. This is what community is. When community does well, and I think all of us benefit from it. It may be not directly, just like how John does what he does. He doesn't realize the impact he has, but he does it just because out of kindness of his heart. But nevertheless, he has an impact. We may not feel or see it right away, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's I think we're at the point that if you ask me for advice, I'm free to give it. If you use it, great. If not, that you won't hurt my feelings. And not all the advice I give is great either. I don't know. It's works for us. But if everything I thought of was a home run, like I was talking about earlier, you're not going to be hitting a home run every single inning, right?
Yeah, you can't.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So we have products that don't move very well, whether it's just not what the market wants or it's a little bit too ahead of its time. That happens. So I'm not always right. In fact, I'm wrong often enough. But I own it. It's okay. It's we're not like Elon Musk that you just keep winning all the time. You're gonna have setbacks every now and then. That's the nature of life, nature of the business.
Yeah. What would you say is your top 3 products that you've ever made, regardless of not based on how well they sold, but things that you think that you really nailed the nail on the head with?
Well, okay. So this has to be based on volume and also revenue, and therefore I have an idea. I can think of a couple of things. The optics plates, okay? The one for the OPFG RMR, the Glock RMR plates, because it's the right timing and right product, and because of that we are in a very good place to. I don't think we ever dominate. It's okay. We don't have to dominate. We just have to be a visible and viable choice. And it's been since 2020. because it works so simple. Tango to Tango Down, Jeff Cahill, I've known him for a long time. He is a little worried. He's like, a lot of companies are making direct mill slides already. Well, they do, they have been, but that is not without problems, right? Because if you have a slide mill for RMR, and next thing you know, another big, competent and honest American company comes out with a enclosed emitter size that's based on the DPP footprints. Well, sorry, it's not going to work for you, right? So I still believe in place, and we have this conversation with folks all the time. Like I have this slides milled for Seymour footprint. Like, oh boy, do you make anything for it? And I said, no, I can't. We don't, and now nobody does either. I don't think. But this is one of the reasons why the modular system is still superior. Just because it's milled, it doesn't automatically confer superiority, because depending on who milled it, right? Yep. If you have someone like Tom at Battleworks milled, oh man, it's going to be 100%. It's going to be the best job you're going to find anywhere. But it is still limited to that footprint. You marry to that until you swap out the gun, you swap out the slide. So anyway, the optics plates is definitely one of the surprise hits. I was telling you earlier that sometimes that I kept thinking, oh, this next product is going to be the killer app, and that never happened until, oh wow, look at this. This is done so well. We never thought it was going to, because Tom Shields, he was the Marine Corps shooting team head coach. He came to us one day back in 2019. He was like, hey, why don't you guys make this? I'm like, okay, well, what is this? I didn't even know what it was, because in California we couldn't even own a Gen 5 Glock. And so we took a look at this, like, this is what I want to do. This is how we can make it better. And so we never changed, other than very minor dimensional changes, like tolerance changes. The plate has been unchanged since 2020 or 2019 when it was first designed. So that became a very big thing for us. Completely, we didn't plan on it. So that's our number one selling product in terms of volume and revenue and visibility for it too. Okay. The other one is our safety, the collaboration between us and Sons. So, after leaving Battle Realms, I didn't want to touch safety for a long time. I didn't have enough of it. But then I thought, we really should have a safety, but other than Badgers, I don't really want to carry anyone else's. And Badger, they were always out of stock. Like, no, I'm able to just do our own. So we did, together with the Sons, we came up with, I was a pretty solid product. It's very expensive. It's probably the most, that honor goes to our friends at Knights Armament. Their ambient safety is the most expensive. It's close to $300. Ours is $82. It's the second most expensive safety. Mm-hmm. But theirs comes with a lot more stuff than ours. Okay? We're not really competing with them. There's no way anybody like us can compete with anybody like that. There's just no way. They have a very well earned reputation, and they can command these prices. Ours is pretty expensive, but because the way that it's made a kind of tolerance that we're holding. Mm-hmm. But that's been our number two selling product, and number three, I can't really think of it. I'm a little surprised to see our ambient charging handle up there. Not number three, but it's certainly like in the top 5 or top 10. It's yet another one of those products that's under the radar. That's a sleeper. It's just because it doesn't have the trendy features. Mm-hmm. It looks a lot like a TDP charging handle, other than it's ambient. But like I said, the handles are shaped the way it is for a reason. It doesn't have not a feature. The handle's fixed for a reason, it doesn't follow trends, and the trend is none of these. It's just the opposite of the trends. But we're stuck with what we have, and we don't want to make changes because that's what we believe that works well for our application for AI. So that's been done. That's been doing pretty well. And I think with the ACFL, the LPVO version, that might change things a little bit. That's another one of these sleeper products. The modular devices, especially the Plan B, and so we're going to be moving on to the CAT left-hand devices as well. So that's going to be the up and coming.
Okay. Next one would be, what's next for Purple?
Anything they want, I guess. But I also want to make sure we don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Because it's because there was a time, and I still kind of not a fan of doing colors just to sell things. But so the thing about Purple is that yes, of course it does sell, but we did it because of the Purple Nights. Right? These guys are kind of weird. They're funny, so we now and then we just do it before them. And then, it's kind of trendy for the time being. So I don't want to overdo it, because when you overdo something, it's like it gets old and nobody wants it anymore. So, so I think this year, the last Purple thing we're going to have are the 10th anniversary LDFAs. And most of them are spoken for. So that's going to be the last. But next year, we might do eggnog.
Yeah. Okay. Especially if you can make it scented. Can you make it scented?
Oh, yeah. The scratching, scratch snake.
All right, next one. Beans and chili, yes or no?
Yeah, well, okay, so that's one of the, so I would say, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood. No. We have to have beans in ours because we're vegetarian.
Okay.
But it's one of the, it's not one of this pong wars or that everyone's waging, come up with. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting.
I'll give you a common answer. Grew up in the middle.
Grew up in a, yeah. Next one. Do you sleep more than 30 minutes a day?
Yeah, of course. No, just this morning I got up at like 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh, can't go back to sleep, so I'm gonna work.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, no, I mean, these things have to be done. So whether I do it now or do it later, but we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our customers, and it's people. It works for us. And because if I wasn't doing that, what else would I be doing?
Yeah. Well, that is something that I've always seen like a resounding repeat of, is how fast people are getting like confirmations, shipments, their products like next morning sometimes. That's
a great trend, because I think for too long the industry just had the bar set too low, and I don't think we can claim that the credit being of shipment very fast. I know that at Battle Realms, we started this. Just because it's the same thing as I'm doing now. If there's order, I'm going to do it. If I see, I'm going to do it. If I can't sleep, I'm going to go out and work. I can't take credit for this because it definitely works. Because now a lot of companies like Revival Defense, Rooftop, and BTO, they all take pride in shipping very fast. And also one of the companies we work with, Michael Jones, at Freedom Firearms. I ordered something from him, and to my surprise, I got ship a notification like within 5 minutes. Like, holy crap! Look at this, dude. So we do this all the time, but it's very different to be on the receiving end of it. When I got a shipment confirmation in 5 minutes, like, oh, this is great. I didn't know that because I didn't buy from them before. I mean, I did buy from them, but guns and such, but not just like some accessory. But I was very happy to see that. It's definitely a good trend. I think, and another one is customer service. And don't hide your phone numbers, right?
Yeah.
And the folks we work with, always have the numbers listed as well. And I mean, again, can't take credit for this. I don't think I can. No, definitely not something we pioneered. It's just hopefully maybe people see that, they're like, hey, this is a good thing to have, and they start doing this. I can't even say that because usually they find out on their own that, hey, we were able to ship fast and people like it. Let's keep getting better at this. For us, it's always been just a thing because I can't leave something undone.
Well, that's a good trait to have. I mean, it's benefiting, and that's one of the big things. Like if you grow too big, that's got to be almost impossible. I mean, we're at the point where we try to make our shipping as fast as we can, but because of our size of the company, we can only work set hours. Like I can't just be in there at 2 in the morning packaging and stuff.
That's hard.
I'm sure John would let us, but that's just not how we operate. So it's got to wait till the morning.
And I get that. Like BTO, they're much bigger than us.
Yeah.
So that they're able to ship as fast. I mean, that's not easy.
It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see how they've got their setup going, because they're very quick.
Yeah, there is efficiency. Also, they figure out how to do it, and for us, it's much easier because most of our products is in one space. If not, it's like not too far to walk to. When you have a warehouse with rows and rows of products, I mean, they have 1,000. Now, actually, I asked Chris Greenfield one day. I said, how many SKUs do you have? Like 30,000. I'm like, dang. We have maybe 500 or 600, and that's a lot for us. And they have tens. You guys got to have more than like hundreds of thousands, right?
We've got a lot.
Right. So it's much harder to do it that way. But that's not a reason why we're small. We will want to keep to our size, because what we're doing now is not really scalable. Just like if we ever get to your size, and I don't want to be near size. I mean, you guys do it very well, but that's bigger companies, bigger sizes, bigger problems. And with small companies, smaller problems, we can handle what we got. Well,
I want to see FCD be incredibly successful, because I'm a big fan of the products, but I also selfishly don't want you to get so big that we're losing some of that. So that's good to hear, and I'm sure everybody's going to be pretty excited to know that too. Anything big in the future that you want to tease anybody with? Anything you got coming up, working on, that you just want to throw a little teaser in there and get the pond stirred up? Or
there's one thing, but I can't even talk about it just yet. But it's something to do with precision shooting. Not something that goes on the gun, but something related to that.
Okay.
I can tell you already. Some people are gonna say this is stupid. Hey, I will show it to you after this, but. I can't show it down. But in terms of what's coming out very soon is the AMRA, the NB Mac version 2 that we've been working on for the last couple of years, and also maybe as early as in the end of the week we should have the ACFL, the LPVO version of the ACF. But those not secret anymore. But now we always have something new, so there's no shortage of that. Thankfully, our problem has always been getting things made. Because in any given time we have some things that are in the process of being made or being prototyped. For the mouse devices, I can talk about that. So this is yet another collaboration with Revival Defense, and actually over there is that we're going to have the A1. We'll talk about that briefly. Instead of a closed bottom. An A2 form factor, it's just going to be an A1. We're going to also have that in 1x16 left-hand cat version as well. We believe that's going to be popular, and also it's left-hand stuff actually makes a lot of sense. Like Xeno, right? It's left-hand threads. It makes a lot of sense. So, but other than that. Unfortunately, I can't talk about too much because when it's not confirmed. It's sometimes, especially this is a collaboration part that we've been talking to the owners about, but they haven't committed. So we like to do it, but it's not completely up to us. So I can't say this and then not have it happen.
Right. You get everybody mad at you.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but it's just another part that's like people have been asking for, and it's not hard for us to do. So why don't we do it?
Okay.
It's not going to be anything groundbreaking. Just another choice, another option.
Well, I'm sure once it's all good to go, you'll probably let everybody in the pond know that. It's there.
I can be very vague about it. It's something that's been asked in the group. But of course, because there's so many things being asked in the group, so nobody's going to find out what that is.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much for letting us come. Not just interview you, but interview you in your own house, even though that's where you're working out of. It's really cool to be here. It was nice to see the pool, to see the infamous pool where all the pictures are taken, and just it's really cool to be able to come down and just talk to people and get to know the company, get to know the people behind the company, and I'm very blessed that were able to do this, make this drive down here and come see you.
Yeah, thank you, and Thomas, so much for driving all the way from Kansas.
Yep.
How long was the drive?
About 5.5.
Oof.
About 5.5 hours. Not too bad.
Yeah, well, I did try to tell you guys, no, I'm not sure if that's really worth your time to come all the way down here. I appreciate the reason why you want to do it. I'm very grateful that you guys think so much of this to make this journey.
No, I think it was a no-brainer.
I hope it was worth it.
I think so.
I don't like to do interviews too much. I just don't like the sound of my voice. I like to see myself in videos even less. So I don't really watch the interviews, but other people see it. So yeah, it's been fun, and I appreciate you guys coming out and sitting with me. It's not very often that I get to talk about us too much, but I don't like to talk about us too much because it's actually this is about the products and also the people it serves.
Yeah.
It's not about the owners. I know it's on Facebook anyway. Seems to be that I'm the face of the company, but it doesn't need one. But it helps that it does. But the product should thrive, should do well on their own without me being the face of it. But I mean, yeah, it's.
But I mean, one could argue that without you, the company wouldn't be where it's at because of those facts that you do interact with the community, and you are a personable person. You're easy to talk to. I mean, all these things matter. You've built the relationships with the companies that you work with. So as much as you might not want to talk about yourself, you're a huge part of the company. It'd be really hard to argue that FCD would be where it's at right now if you weren't the nucleus in it.
Well, yeah, it's a combination of things, right?
Yeah.
And so just like our relationship with Rainier and with Sons and with Revival Defense and BTO and Rooftop and this and the Arson that's been making stuff for us for a long time, and also IDP that just moved from Oxnard. When we're in the Palisades, we're about 30 minutes apart. And then we moved out here, and then he moved out here. Now we're also about 30 minutes apart. It's really funny. But Brendan, we treasure friendship and relationship far more than profit. Profit you can always make more of.
Yeah.
Good friends, not so easy.
Not so easy. That's for sure.
And I've been to at the point where I've seen, like I said earlier, where I was no longer in a position to help people, and then these people went away. Okay, that's how you know.
Yep.
It's easy to make friends when they need you.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can offer them all sorts of stuff and help, and they're seeing you as a stepping stone. Yeah.
Yeah. So
everyone wants to be friends.
Yeah, well, so that's why I appreciate John so much, and people like him. He didn't need us. He still doesn't need us. But he is what he is because he believed in small companies, and he believes in so much that he risked financial loss to take a chance on them. And he did that with us and numerous other companies. So yeah, I'm talking about community. Yeah, that's why I think he's such a huge part of it, even though he doesn't believe it, or he doesn't talk about it, he doesn't think it. But I know because we're the direct beneficiary of this, not once but twice.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome to hear. Well, thank you so much, Roger. I appreciate you taking your time and again inviting us into the house. And we're excited to get this video out so people can get to know y'all just a little bit more. So thank you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.